Chapter 7. A True Wolf. Irina loved to be next to Sheka, and when they slept in a pile she liked nothing more than snuggling into the warm folds of her fur. The great fierce strength in the wolf mother's body made her feel safe. Sheka's ferocious protectiveness needed no explanation. Irina felt it in her heart and bones. She loved the wolf like any child loves her mother. One of Irina's favourite games was to pretend that she was a wolf mother, carrying leftover food to be buried outside and pushing the pups with her face as Sheka pushed them with her nose, leading them to get up, to play, to go to the river to wash. As she grew older, she began to join the wolves on the hunt. When they licked one another's faces and howled, Irina's human voice merged with the melodious howls of the wolves. In the last litter of pups, there was born a runt, a tiny wolf called Asta. She was so small she could run no faster than Irina. Sheka often carried the small wolf and threw her in the path of danger, near to where humans or other animals could catch her, or into the river where she had to scramble and splash to get out. Several times Sheka took Asta to the darkest part of the forest and left her there to find her own way home. Asta is the weakest, Sheka would say. She must be clever to survive. I am like Asta, Irina said. Leave me too. You are not a wolf. Irina looked down at herself, examining her hairless arms and legs. I want to be a wolf like you, she said, butting her head into Sheka's side. Let me try. That night, Sheka told Amicus he could follow Irina but not show himself. Reluctantly, but understanding the need for Irina's survival instincts to be sharpened, Amicus agreed. Taking care to keep out of sight, Sylvan followed as Sheka carried Irina on her back for some way north, then across the river. She dropped the girl under some bushes. The wolf licked her sadly and bounded away, believing her human pup might not survive the night. Irina stared into the dark, searching for the familiar pale gleam of Amicus in the shadows. When she could not see him, she drew her knees under her chin and shivered with fear. For the first time in her short life, Irina was alone. Like Asta, she thought, I have to find my way home. She rolled onto her hands and knees and crawled forward, sniffing the ground. There was a trace of Sheka there, and she followed the scent till she came to the river, where the smell disappeared. The rushing water, barely lit by the stars above, looked dark and frightening. Irina let out a howl and hurled herself in, gasping at the cold current. Kicking out her legs and arms, she found her feet could touch the bottom. She waded through the water and climbed up the bank on the other side, her teeth chattering. Don't stop, she thought. Find Sheka. On her hands and knees, she sniffed all over for Sheka and finally caught the she-wolf's scent. She crawled onwards, Amicus still flying far above, until the sun rose and Sheka's smell again grew faint. To Amicus's horror, a flock of flesh-eating Ecuador birds had noticed the slow-moving creature on the forest floor and were following her. When the sun was high in the sky, too tired to howl or even cry, Irina collapsed under a tree. She had lost the scent completely. Her knees and palms were cut and bruised. I must get up, she thought. She tried, but fell backward in a faint. The Ecuador birds circled lower, their dark green wings pulsing, their beaks curved and golden and sharp. Irina's legs trembled, and the echidors waited, hovering. They liked their prey to be deathly still before they attacked. Irina's legs stopped trembling and she breathed so lightly that her back barely moved. The echidors watched. Amicus ran up and down the branch of a tree, chirruping and loosening dry leaves which tumbled over Irina, but she did not stir. Then, in that curious way that birds have of moving as one creature, the echidors swooped. Amicus issued a whistle so ear-splitting that Irina was roused from her faint. She sat up suddenly, shocked to find herself surrounded by masses of dark green feathers pitching this way and that way, yellow legs and claws, fetid breath pouring from open beaks. Shrieking, she beat them away, and the birds flew up, cawing loudly. The echidors settled on the branches of the trees and waited once more. Irina looked up at them, her heart pounding. Killing birds, she said to herself. What did Sheka say about the killing birds? Don't stay still. Keep moving. A branch jutted out of the tree beside her as though to help. Irina pulled herself up, looking around hopefully for any sign of Amicus. Above the trees, the dazzling sun seemed to beckon her, calling in its cracked golden voice, this way, this way. So Irina followed the sun, dazed and exhausted. The sun was her friend, she decided, even though its hot rays burned her through the branches overhead. It was better to walk upright so she didn't hurt her knees. By and by she found some wild mint. She grabbed and ate handful after handful. Never had mint tasted so delicious, so fresh and pure and nourishing. She kept an eye on the echidors still following her. After eating the mint, she walked faster, and suddenly before dusk, the flock lifted like a storm cloud and flew off into the sky. Hours later, when at last she found the cave, Durell bounded out to greet her with a joyous yelp, followed by Sheka. Wolf, true wolf, said Sheka, licking Irina all over with her rough tongue and lifting her onto Durell's back so that the young wolf could carry her inside. Casting a backward glance over her haunches, Sheka caught sight of Amicus in the odin tree. You helped her, the she-wolf accused. Amicus was able to reply in all honesty, I never showed myself to her once.